Hey there, it's another beautiful day. Let's watch some stuff.
Lastly, sir, we have an executive order ordering the declassification of files relating to the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
That's a big one. Huh? A lot of people are waiting for this for years, for decades. And everything will be revealed. Okay? Give that to RFK.
Yes, sir.
So that will be given to the Director of National Intelligence and the Attorney General, and they will have 15 days to come up with a plan on releasing that information. And the other two cases that he signed that they want disclosure on should, take about 45 days. So it'll probably be a while before we get the fully redacted documents.
Breaking news, we finally know who the drones are. The White House has announced these are not UFOs, these are not Iranian drones, nope. These are legally operated drones by hobbyists and by, some police departments. That's right, so all of the fear-mongering conspiracies from left and right parties are all fake, I guess. Now, the irony behind all of this is that Donald Trump straight up said today the government knows exactly who those drones are, they're just not telling anybody. However, I do want to make clear, there is a side of news reporting who've always said there's no conspiracy behind this, it's most likely legal activity, but of course, the way social media works, it all gets squashed away and we want to believe the conspiracy. But again, I do find it rather interesting that all of a sudden, now that Donald Trump has straight up told the public the government knows exactly who it is, and then it gets released to the public that it's nothing, I do find that really interesting.
What I find particularly interesting is I cannot find any news report that states what he just said. So maybe he's just making something up to kind of push a narrative that it's nothing. Maybe he's one of the pawns that's supposed to make us look the other way now because he supposedly has solved this mystery, even though it still hasn't come out publicly what they are. And if they are hobbyists and police, then why was there such a push to give the military so much money to spy on us to figure out what the drones are? I still think there's something else going on here.
The World Health Organization regrets the announcement that the United States of America intends to withdraw from the organization. WHO plays a crucial role in protecting the health and security of the world's people, including Americans, by addressing the root causes of disease, building stronger health systems, and detecting, preventing, and responding to health emergencies, including disease outbreaks, and often in dangerous places where others cannot go. The United States was a founding member of WHO in 1948 and has participated in shaping and governing WHO's work ever since, alongside 193 other member states, including through its active participation in the World Health Assembly and Executive Board. For over 7 decades, WHO and the United States of America have saved countless lives and protected Americans and all people from health threats. Together, we ended smallpox, and together we have brought polio to the brink of eradication. American institutions have contributed to and benefited from membership in WHO. With the participation of the United States and other member states, WHO has, over the past 7 years, implemented the largest set of reforms in its history to transform our accountability, cost-effectiveness, and impact in countries. This work continues. We hope the United States will reconsider, and we look forward to engaging in constructive dialogue to maintain the partnership between the United States of America and WHO for the benefit of the health and well-being of millions of people around the globe.
So I am really up in the air about the whole World Health Organization nonsense. I think it's a wonderful organization. I think they're doing great things. I think that America gave them way too much money to be part of this organization, and they're a little bent that now they don't have so much money to help everybody else that is part of this organization that isn't giving nearly as much money. So I see that part, but at the same time, I feel that now their organization isn't going to be able to do as much good as they were doing. But at the same time, I'm okay with not giving hundreds of billions of dollars to an organization to help everybody when they're not putting in their fair share.
A child would sit in the Montauk chair. A scientist would tell the child what they needed to visualize to create a portal to the time and space the scientist wished to have someone transport to. Once the portal was created and large enough, another child would walk right through it and be in the time-space created from the portal. On the other side, the child would have a device used to communicate with the scientist in the Montauk facility. According to researcher Peter Moon and scientist and engineer Preston Nicholas, who worked at the facility, wrote several books about the events that transpired with the time travel experiments. They wrote that the Montauk boys went to a variety of places across time and space, to the biblical days to the distant future. Much time was spent viewing events from both the First and Second World War. Pictures were taken and events were monitored.
Okay, so this is a little exciting and kind of a bit embarrassing because I know like this much about the Montauk Project. In fact, I probably know less than that much. I know that Stranger Things was supposedly based off of it, and it's a series of books, right? I don't know that there was an actual event, the Montauk Project, and I've never watched Stranger Things. I'm too old for that crap. But maybe I need to look into it because that sounds really interesting that they were using children to sit in this chair and open up this portal. That's kind of weird, but okay. Hey, thanks so much for stopping by today. If you're having a good time, won't you please hit that like button for me? It'll really help out the channel. And if you haven't, won't you consider subscribing? And then come on back. So I'm making a new episode every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Earth is not what we've been told. And our past is not what we've been told. And we are more than we've been led to believe. And I think all that's being revealed right now. And I think some of the most revealing evidence is not even on Earth, it's on the moon. And the moon itself. There's a growing body of evidence that suggests that the moon is an artificial body, that it was engineered. I just did a video on this recently, an interview. And I mean, it's fascinating. One of the things, it's so deep, I'm not even sure where to begin here. One of the first things that scientists noticed is, and we all know, the moon is covered in meteorites. Big ones, small ones, overlapping ones, but they will not go below a certain depth. They're hitting something that doesn't allow them to go below a certain depth.
I absolutely love that theory that the moon is something other than what we believe it is. Like it's manufactured, it's a space station that was towed in thousands and thousands of years ago, and they're like observing us, and it has like a solid core, and that's why those meteorite strikes, those craters, only go to a certain depth. That is super peculiar, isn't it?
The Titanic never sunk.
It didn't. Let me break it down. J.P. Morgan, the famous banker, owned the Titanic, but he also owned two other ships, the Olympic and the Britannic. Now, the Olympic was older, beat up, and not making money, allegedly. The theory says Morgan swapped the Olympic with the Titanic before its first voyage. They painted it, changed the name, and sent it off. The reason? Insurance. The Olympic was a problem, so sinking it for the insurance money was the perfect fix. And here is the suspicious part. Morgan, who was supposed to be on the Titanic, canceled last minute. But his biggest business rivals? They were on board when it sank. None of them survived. Convenient, isn't it? And about the evidence. People have pointed out differences between the Titanic and Olympic that survivors noticed. Things didn't add up. So, what's the truth? Was it a tragic accident or a planned disaster to get rid of a financial problem in some competition? Maybe the real story is hidden under the ocean or buried with the secrets of history.
It really is super suspicious that he was supposed to be on that boat and then he wasn't. There's also the theory that there was a fire, and that's what caused it to go down, not the actual iceberg, which is crazy.
If you think modern viruses are scary, you're not alone. The world has been grappling with pandemics and plagues for centuries, and the fear of new, more dangerous viruses is ever present. But wait until you hear about ancient ones trapped in the permafrost. These ancient viruses have been lying dormant for thousands of years, frozen in time. Deep beneath the frozen landscapes of Siberia, scientists have unearthed a chilling discovery. These viruses, once thought to be extinct, are now being revived as the ice melts. Yes, you heard that right. Ancient, potentially deadly viruses. These viruses have been preserved in the ice for millennia, and now they are being released back into the environment. In 2023, a team of researchers identified 13 such viruses, some dating back a staggering 48,500 years. At the forefront of these scientists' concerns is how contemporary human immune systems would respond to so-called zombie viruses that are potentially millions of years old. These findings have sent shockwaves through the scientific community. These aren't just any viruses. Aix-Marseille University in France dug a fascinating organism out of the Siberian permafrost, a so-called giant virus about 30,000 years old, which they named Pythovirus sibericum. Giant viruses get their name because, though still tiny, they are easily visible under the microscope and almost impossible to break, roughly 9,000 times stronger than a regular virus. But there is something else that makes P. sibericum stand apart. It is a DNA virus that contains a large number of genes, as many as 500 to be precise. One of these genes might have the possibility of causing reanimation in humans, the ability for the body to still function with no help from an active brain, a true life zombie virus. Think this sounds like science fiction? Think again. The reality is that these viruses are very real, and their potential impact on human society is still largely unknown. Driven by mainly melting ice, new shipping routes and mining operations in the Arctic North are making these viruses a reality. This increased human activity in previously untouched areas is a cause for concern. Mining, drilling, and digging through these ancient layers of ice for the first time in millions of years. If viable viruses are still there, this is a very good recipe for disaster. This unprecedented human activity could expose us to these zombie viruses, creating opportunities for infection and global spread. The risk of these ancient viruses entering the human population is higher than ever before. Professor Jean-Michel Claverie of Aix-Marseille University has been at the forefront of this research since 2014. His work has been crucial in understanding the potential threats posed by these ancient viruses. He warns that our contemporary immune systems might not stand a chance against these ancient invaders. Our bodies have never encountered these viruses before, and we may not have the necessary defenses to fight off a giant-sized P. sibericum reanimated zombie virus from deep within the permafrost. He has said, we should stop digging and drilling there immediately, if only we knew what was good for us. The threat is real, and it's significantly understudied. More research and funding are needed to fully understand these ancient viruses and develop strategies to mitigate their impact. Could these ancient viruses trigger the next pandemic? Only time will tell.
Maybe that's why they don't allow people to just go traipsing around in Antarctica. Maybe there is some kind of crazy virus that they've found there. Who knows what they're doing with it. Speaking of just anybody digging around in like glaciers and stuff like that, my father-in-law, hi Greg, he was over here yesterday and he said he went on an Alaskan cruise and it was a long time ago and there was the ice, the floating ice, you know, and he took a chunk and he ate it, and you're not supposed to do that. So if something crazy breaks out and my father-in-law is patient zero, man, we're going to know why.
All right, so there's this fascinating theory that's been floating around for a while now.
It suggests that deep down in the ocean, there are these alien civilizations. The idea is that these beings live in these massive underwater cities that are completely hidden from us. So the theory goes that these aliens have been living here for millions of years, and they've managed to avoid detection by using advanced technology that camouflages their cities and hides them from our sonar and other detection methods. What's really interesting is that some people believe these underwater aliens might actually be responsible for some of the unexplained phenomena we see in the ocean. You know, like those mysterious disappearances of ships and planes, or strange underwater lights and sounds. And if you think about it, it kind of makes sense, right? I mean, the ocean is this vast, unexplored frontier, and it's the perfect place for an advanced civilization to hide and carry out their activities without us noticing. So, yeah, it's definitely a wild theory, but I think it's worth considering, especially when you think about how little we actually know about what's going on down there in the depths of the ocean.
Oh yeah, yep, totally believe that. I believe that 100%, especially since the freaking congressional hearing, the most recent one, they're like, oh yeah, stuff in the ocean. Well, yeah, of course there is, because we only have explored 5%, and it's always been 5%. They know what's down there. They know it's aliens.
So you're saying there's an entire country we don't know about?
What if I told you there's a part of the Earth no one's ever seen? At least, not the people you know. Everyone's stuck believing the Earth is this perfect little globe where sure, you just stroll in a circle, and boom, you're back where you started. Cute idea, right? But tell me, why don't we just cross Antarctica? Oh, right, because nobody ever has. You think it's just this cold, useless slab of ice at the bottom of the world, but that's the lie. Antarctica? It's not just land, it's a wall, a barrier. It locks us inside the tiny part of the Earth we think we know. And what lies beyond, that's where things get interesting. The people in power, they know what's on the other side. They make sure you stay clueless like good little sheep, believing you live on 7 continents. But you've got no idea what's out there. Whole continents. Oceans bigger than the Pacific. And humans who have lived beyond that ice wall for centuries were nothing more than their experiment, caged inside this small, controlled space. That's the real reason no one lets you explore Antarctica. They don't want you wandering too far because once you cross that ice, you'd realize we're not in charge of this world at all.
I had to watch that a couple times because those subtitles were misleading. It said "were" when it should have said "we're." There was an apostrophe missing, which changed the entire story completely. Like, first I'm thinking, okay, so inside Antarctica, in the middle there, where we're not allowed to go, those are the ones that we're experimenting on. There's the experiment happening there. But no, it's basically a terra infinita thing. So the ice wall, everything outside, is controlling our little tiny stupid world, and we're the experiment. I don't believe that, but that's a fantastic story. And I saw it both ways, and then I realized, oh, that's not good. It's completely different from what I had originally thought.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
When you said that just now, did it sound stupid to you?
Kind of.
Oh, that's their story, and boy, are they sticking to it. Yet this year they're like, oh, we're going back to the moon. Wait a second, I thought you destroyed that technology.
What we're thinking of as aliens are they're extra-dimensional beings that an earlier precursor of the space program made contact with. They are not what they claim to be. They have infiltrated a lot of aspects of the military establishment, particularly the Area 51. The disasters that are coming, the military, the government knows about them, and there's a lot of safe areas in this world that they could begin moving the population to now aren't.
But they're not doing anything.
They are not. They want the major population centers wiped.
Once upon a time in another life, I was a truck driver for a spell. And I used to drive at night, and my favorite thing to listen to was Coast to Coast. Now, I listened to it in the George Norrie era. I know before that was Art Bell, but that sounds exactly like it was a Coast to Coast call. I don't know if it's actually somebody that used to work at Area 51 or just somebody that said that they did, or if it was just subtitled like that for shock factor. But it definitely sounds like a Coast to Coast call.
Let's talk about James Randi. As a professional magician, his goal, later in his career, was to debunk anyone claiming any psychic phenomena. In my research, his $1 Million Challenge is set up so that people fail this challenge. That is the intention behind it. The organization behind the $1 Million Challenge does not want to see anyone successful. They will not allow that $1 million to leave their organization. And people are happy with that being the only proof they need to not believe that there are actual potential psychic abilities available to us. But I'm not one of them. Instead, my favorite magician, his name is Russell Targ. This is Russell Targ. He was a magician too, and there were some things that happened when he was practicing that he couldn't explain. So he actually went on to get curious about psychic phenomena and the potential of our human consciousness. As a physicist, he was a very smart man, and he went on to analyze and research the powerful effects of remote viewing and the limitations of the human consciousness. And the CIA funded his research too. His research was impeccable and widely successful. I highly encourage you to check it out. He has several books published regarding it as well. And that is a magician that I would like to work with if I was going to work with anyone. Rather than working with the James Randi organization, which seeks to shame and embarrass anyone who wants to entertain the possibility that we have psychic potential.
I don't think James Randi was trying to embarrass anybody. I think he was exposing a lot of charlatans who were taking advantage of other people by pretending to have these psychic abilities, and he debunked them, one after the other for quite a while. It was actually pretty fantastic. I will show you a clip in a minute. But whether or not psychic abilities actually do exist, we're at the mercy of the word of the person who says that they have those psychic abilities. And remote viewing, I'm still not sold on it. Not 100%. I'm getting there, though. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I'm just having a difficult time going, yeah, that's for sure real.
James turned the page of a telephone directory without touching it. And you claim to have done that with psychic power.
Yes. Now, what I have here is particles of a white plastic, which, when given a good heavy puff of air, will, I think, rather conclusively show whether or not blowing is the method accomplished. Now,
the styrofoam and the lights form electricity which pulls the page. Look. Pulls the page down instead of freeing the pages.
But the question is not valid because it's making an assumption which is not true. The foam does not in any way create static electricity, and Mr. Hydrake, in demonstrating that the pages were clinging together, didn't demonstrate it to my satisfaction. I think we could perhaps ask the judges for their opinion on that. I am not a scientist, so I'm not qualified to declare on it.
I would add that if this is in fact psychic functioning, I don't really see why that would make a difference.
Very well.
The static is going to still be here because of the foam. See, that's
well,
what I'm
it
saying.
Is the opinion of the judges that there is not enough static formed by the foam to be a problem.
Yeah, he totally blew on that page. Because if he blew on the page, when the little foam pieces were around, they would move. And the jig would be up. I'm not saying that psychic abilities for sure don't exist. I'm just saying that nobody was able to prove it.
This concept transcends the conventional view of numbers, presenting them as keys to a profound comprehension of the universe. In particular, the numbers 3, 6, and 9 take center stage, acting as covert players in the mathematical realm and establishing a unique link between the third and fourth dimensions. But here's where it becomes truly intriguing. These numbers signify more than mere values. They embody frequencies and vibrations deeply embedded in the atomic structure of the universe. Consider this: everything from minuscule particles to expansive galaxies resonates at specific frequencies. It's in this intricate dance that the numbers 3, 6, and 9 come into play.
I'm not saying this isn't real, but I have a real difficult time just wanting things to happen. And I feel like a lot of times manifesting things is just wanting them to happen really hard. And I personally, I'm in the mind space of you want something done, go do it. Don't wait for it to happen. Don't wish for it to happen. Go do it. Now, I'm not saying that manifestation doesn't necessarily work because you know how everything is connected with the energy and vibration and all of that stuff. So there's a possibility that, oh, you're thinking it into existence. But a lot of times you got to get up and do something.
The ice cube neutrino detector is not simply a passive listening device as presented for the science that they're claiming it to do. It also has the capacity to transmit. There are embedded in the ice what are called digital optical modules, DOMs. They're about the size of a basketball. The array embedded in the ice is 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer. It is the world's largest telescope. And now, because we have proven that it can transmit, it's the world's largest directed energy weapons system.
I didn't realize I pulled so many clips about Antarctica. So much stuff going on down there. Apparently they have direct energy weapons. And a lot of people think that they were used on LA. I don't think that it was direct energy weapons that were used on LA. I really think that it was gross negligence. And now that that area is cleared out, another plan can finally take place. And they were just waiting for that to happen. But still, direct energy weapons in Antarctica, there's another reason why they won't let us go over it.
Wouldn't it be crazy if the Earth's magnetic North Pole is on the move? I believe they call that a polar shift. Yeah. I mean, it would also be kind of crazy if it lines up with 3 massive solar storms, which are hitting Earth in the next, I mean, it's probably hitting us now over the next few days. Interestingly, there's already some earthquake activity. This may be new to some people, but there are theories that solar storms have a direct result in earthquake activity and volcanic activity. Solar flares cause a variety of issues which are directly connected to earthquakes, such as changes in electron content in the atmosphere, frequency of the ionosphere, variations of magnetic fields, L-shell magnetic fields, static electricity. The biggest earthquake in history happened after a very aggressive solar year. And they found isotopes in the rocks from the younger Dryas year, which could have only been created by a solar supernova.
I think that we're definitely due for like a major solar event. I know we've had a few of them last year, and that's why the northern lights came down so far south multiple times. A lot of people said it was because of HARP or because of CERN, but you know, the sun does affect the world. And yeah, we're pretty much due for something not so happy. I mean, we're at the mercy of the sun every day. It can just decide, nope, that's it.
On January 25th, 2025, all planets will align in the sky. When planets align, their combined gravitational forces ripple across the cosmos. Ancient astrologers believed planetary alignments amplify your energy, opening portals for manifestation, creativity, and transformation. Think of it like cosmic Wi-Fi. When the planets line up, the signal to the universe is stronger. What you think, feel, and say during this alignment could determine the trajectory of your entire year. From now until January 25th, while the energy is building, repeat these 3 affirmations daily. All my dreams are now becoming reality. I allow myself to receive everything I desire. I am open and receptive to all the good in the universe.
All right, so those of you that are into celestial bodies and positive affirmations and manifestation, tomorrow's your day, 25th, it's Saturday. So that's when the planets are all going to be lined up and you're going to be able to get your message out there even better. On that note, I'm going to call it for today. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. Please come on back in a couple of days. We're going to watch some new stuff. I'll say different things. It's going to be fantastic. Until then, have a wonderful day. One of those affirmations was, all of my dreams are coming to reality. You ever have some messed up dreams where you're like, I don't know, super busy and everything keeps going wrong? Like you're just trying to do one thing and you can't quite get there, right? Or the usual one where you're at school in your underwear or at work in your underwear. Those are always terrible. I have some terrible dreams. Like there are times where I dream that I wake up and I go through the entire process of getting ready for work, and right as I leave the house, I wake up again. Sometimes it happens multiple times, and that is stressful. And I understand that dreams, they mean like your desires, but what if that stuff got a wire switched somewhere and all your weird ass dreams come true? That would suck.